My doll keeps moving by herself. I'm hoping someone knows anything about this doll. I bought her from an antique shop maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Just thought she was cute and creepy. I'm not sure what she's made out of. It's not quite porcelain, rougher texture than that. She's obviously fragile, but I don't think she's glass either. She has string inside her hollow body that connect to her limbs to allow the joints to move. The words "Made in Japan" look to be hand-etched into her upper back. Now, on to her moving. The first picture is how I usually have her. She is new to this spot. Over the last few months, I started to notice her moving. At first, I didn't think much of it. She would be off-center, angled one direction or another. Just assume the table she's sitting on got bumped into. Then she would be an inch or two off where she usually lays. There is a hole that her butt fits really well into, so it's strange that she would be able to move out of it. I didn't think about this at the time, just kept putting her back. Then about 2 weeks ago, she was about 1.5 feet away from her spot, on the opposite end of the table, stuck in between the tabletop and the dresser right next to it. She was positioned in a way that she wouldn't fall, but not like she was placed there. Definitely thought this was weird and talked to my friends about it. Again, didn't have an explanation, but just brushed it off and put her back. Since then, I have been checking on her every day when I wake up to see if she's moved. She hadn't until today. I was working on schoolwork late and came up to my room around 3 a.m. I go to walk past the table and I see her like this. Sat up. I felt my heart drop into my stomach. I'm actually kind of freaked out now and I don't know what to do. I don't know anything about this stuff, and I'm afraid it's just going to keep getting more intense. If anyone knows anything about the doll or has some advice, I'm all ears. Update. Every time that one of my family members comes home, my dog gets really excited and whines. When I came home earlier today, I thought I'd try to get him to come upstairs so I could get video evidence of how he won't step foot into my room. I took this video of him. You can hear him whining in the beginning, and he's running towards me, obviously excited to see me. Then I try to get him to come to the door of my bedroom. His demeanor changes right away. You can see it. This has never happened before. He's typically really excited when I offer for him to come upstairs, because he isn't allowed upstairs a vast majority of the time. He liked to chew up and swallow underwear and socks. Now he won't even come near my door. Mortician here. I need help. I've been a mortician for over a decade and have never had any issues with anything paranormal. Around 6 months ago, a new girl started working at the funeral home. She and her family claim to be sensitive, do different divination rituals, and are psychic. She's even admitted to me she's done black magic to get back at an ex-boyfriend. So here's the deal. Like I said, nothing has ever happened to me regardless of the funeral homes I've worked in. I've been there alone all hours of the night. Nothing. So the past few months, weird things have started happening. My other coworker has had strange things going on at her home, like things randomly appearing and disappearing. Her son is sleepwalking and speaking to someone outside, and pictures are flying across the room. At the funeral home, we've heard whispering on multiple occasions and doors slamming. Now comes my turn. The other night I'm embalming alone, and I thought I kept seeing someone standing out of the corner of my eye, but I kept telling myself it was my mind messing with me. The door that leads outside is right outside of the room where I'm embalming. The door that goes outside has a metal bar that you pull to latch and lock it. Everything is locked, obviously, since I'm alone. So no more than 5 minutes after I kept seeing someone standing out of the corner of my eye, I hear a massive slam against the metal bar on the door. It was so loud I about had a heart attack. My main question here is, what is y'all's opinion? Do you think it's someone I've helped over the years making themselves known, or do you think it's more? I personally think the new girl brought something with her. Her grandmother has even told her she has an attachment. I'm terrified and really don't want to work alone. I'm afraid if it's more than just a spirit cleansing, I will make it more upset, and things will get worse. Help! Need some advice. I was hoping that someone on here could help because, frankly, I've gone from worried to terrified in the last few nights. I've brought this up with my family, and they laugh it off like it's nothing, only reminding me that I am acting like I'm a child again. Some backstory. I'm a 25-year-old male, and I was a self-employed joiner. I guess a handyman to you Americans. Unfortunately, I had a stroke back in April. Until then, I was perfectly healthy, but due to work stress and a family gene linked to strokes, I had a bad one. This is all just context to why I recently moved back in with my grandparents. My rent wasn't cheap, and my partner and I couldn't afford to keep living there without my income. So we decided until I'm better that we'll move back in with our families. It really sucks. I wish she was with me right now, through all this. So last month, with the help of my brother and father, we moved my dog and I into my grandparents' fairly large house in the countryside. It was basically like I was living in an apartment myself, without the worry of being in people's way, since my grandparents don't come downstairs unless it's to go shopping or for food. Now, this is where things started to go from bad to worse. About a week ago, I caught what we think was the norovirus, and due to my current health, it unfortunately floored me. I was horribly sick all the time, literally losing my will to live, so I would take comfort in the times I could sleep. While sleeping, though, I started to have this nightmare. I was lying in bed in my room, and I could feel someone or something watching me from the corner closest to the window. I couldn't see anything actually there, but I know something was. It unsettled me. This kept happening. Each sleep, the feeling was there. In the last 2 nights, it's gotten worse. Saturday night was the first time I caught a glimpse of it. Like a man, a really tall man, made of pure darkness. Like Vanna Black, in the heart of an abyss. He was standing in the corner of the room where I felt like someone was watching me. I felt like the entire dream was only a few seconds long. I saw him, and woke up immediately drenched in sweat. When I finally calmed myself down, I went upstairs to my grandparents' living room and waited until they got up to talk about my dream. When I told my grandma about it, she laughed and said I sounded like when I was 5 years old again, talking about the scary monster in my dreams. She then mentioned how as a kid I would complain whenever I slept over, because the scary man was watching me, until I refused sleepovers. Hearing this scared the daylights out of me, and makes me want to leave. But I have nowhere else to go. My grandparents' house was the only family that had space for me and my German Shepherd. Last night, I was determined to keep myself awake all night, and maybe find a friend's sofa to accidentally fall asleep on. However, it hit 4 a.m. and I couldn't prevent myself from sleeping any longer, so I crashed. In my dream from last night, the man was moving, reaching out for me. You know when you have that feeling like you're in a dangerous situation? Like standing too close to a cliff edge? I felt that. Like whatever this thing was, I couldn't let it touch me or something very bad would happen. In my dream, I rolled over the bed and half stumbled into the door with a slam, since he was inches away from touching me. In the moment I ran into the door, I woke up in the exact same position as I was in my dream, with the exception that my dog was now there. He was standing up and growling angrily in the direction the being was when I was asleep. This all but confirms to me that this isn't just in my head. I don't know what to do or where to go next. I'm scared I'm going to die. Does anyone know what this is or how I can protect myself? Please, someone help me.